inviting me again this year. It's an interesting and almost perfect segue to go from Ray to myself, because he obviously works for the Office of Government Affairs of AOA in Washington, D.C., and I run a health policy fellowship program. There's a very fine line between policy and politics. I have to be honest with you, I don't know if the government is going to be running tomorrow. I'm very confused about whatever is going on there. Does anybody understand what's going on? Probably not. It's pretty confusing. But I can tell you that I've been running the Training and Policy Studies program for the last 12 years. I work in Dr. Lois Lee's office at the New York Institute of Technology, College of Osteopathic Medicine, and I just met my 10 new fellows last week in Washington, D.C., and my passion and my work lies with the TIPS program. Each and every year, my fellows seem to get brighter and more compassionate. They're engaged, they're inquisitive, and my new class fits in beautifully. I have 5 young men, 5 young women, and they're incredible. I'm very happy that Bernadette's with me today. She is a graduate of the program. I'm very casual, so if anybody has questions at any point, just pipe in, and we're going to leave plenty of room for questions and answers. I always joke that my presentations are short and sweet, like I am. And I kind of have a hoarse voice already, and it's only one day on the convention center floor, so here we go. Okay, and it's not working like yeah, let's sync it with my iPhone and see how that works. Okay. That was the right word, at least. Okay. I probably will stay right here. I'm too tired to walk around today. Well, I can even see without my reading glasses. The TIPS program is for 2nd and 3rd year osteopathic residents. And what we hope is after you graduate from our program that you have the vocabulary and the understanding to affect policy on some level. When my fellows join the program, it doesn't matter to me if they're passionately interested in international global health or inner city people with AIDS or rural health. You each bring something significant to the table, and we want to help you, do the best about it. Clicking the wrong button again somehow. Don't you hate when you're in the audience and people do this? I know. Just going against, okay. Oh, sure, we'll go to that one now. Why get involved with health policy? These are pretty self-explanatory. What I did was just ask different fellows why they joined the TIPS program. You can probably read that on your own. I get involved with health policy. I had somebody tell me they want to be the first DO who's president of the United States. So if your aspirations lead you to the White House, wonderful. And I think Ray touched upon some of this. The 3 cornerstones of health policy are issues of access, cost, and quality. Access means if you're living in rural Alaska, how far do you have to drive, or do you need to take a helicopter to get to a doctor? Cost is obviously a major aspect. That's why we have the CARE Act, going into implementation tomorrow. And healthcare quality obviously is important to everybody. This is kind of self-explanatory. Right now, the healthcare costs in the United States are approximately 20% of our national budget, so that's an awful lot of money. And as we can see, the wave of uninsured people is hitting the shore right now, but 50 million. Hopefully, we will get some of that under control. Something pretty terrible with regards to quality is that countries that spend half of what we spend here in the United States have outcomes that are better, and we tend to emphasize acute care over wellness and prevention of illnesses. This is always scary. America made strides in the last 2 decades, but because it curtailed infant mortality rates by 6% or less than the average drop. The United States now lags behind 40, that's 40, other countries, including Lithuania, Israel. I have a Lithuanian fellow this year for the first time, Israel and Cuba. So we all know that despite the huge amounts of money we spend here, that we definitely don't have the best health care in the world. Some of the topics we discussed during the year are, again, access to care, health economics, workforce and vulnerable populations, Medicare, global health, the legislative process, and political advocacy. A few statistics for you. We've been running the program for 12 years, like I mentioned. We currently have 102 graduates, 10 new fellows I met last week. I think we're doing remarkably well with our diversity. As you can see by our figures, 52% of the grads have been women and 31% minority. A wide variety of specialties and many states in the union. We meet 4 times a year. Like I said, we just met in Washington, D.C. last week. We meet again in March. That's when we have our Hill visits. It makes sense if we're teaching about policy that we would meet where it all happens. In New York, which is where I'm working from, we also meet there, and we wrap up in Chicago in June, which is wonderful because the AOA hosts us, and we can. I think that the 12th floor boardroom, it looks like you could launch a rocket ship from there. It's very technologically brilliant, and it's fun. And we're sponsored by the AOA, so of course I'd like the students to get involved. In between these 4 seminars, the fellows have a certain amount of reading and research, and the program culminates with you doing a presentation on a topic, a health policy brief, which we're the experts on. Anybody in the room at the AOA Health Policy Forum in DC last week? So you got to see that there was 1 TIPS fellow and 3 of the health policy fellows speak, and to be blunt with you, the TIPS fellow always rocks that. So that's pretty wonderful. And so many people involved in the program. How am I doing? Short and sweet. And I know you guys have a break next too. So our website is pathetic, and you have to remember that you met me and that I'm charming and diplomatic. But I need to have somebody help me badly with the website, so don't judge the program by that. It's pretty easy. The first year I took over the program, like in the Stone Age, I had to mail out 3,000 applications by hand and stuff, self-addressed envelopes, and now it's all done. The application's online, the references are online, so as daunting as it is for people my age, we can get on board eventually. Yeah, that sounded like a good horse throat. One thing that I'm a bit ashamed of with the program is not all of the fellows have full funding. We anticipate that the program is free, so when you come to the seminars, I feed you. I work at New England Culinary Institute for 3 years, so you will get damn delicious food right here. And depending on where you live, you have to get there. And I try to get the cheapest, decent hotel, but we estimate that it might be up to $1,000 per session, so possibly $4,000 a year. Some states like Pennsylvania, the OPTI always funds people. For emergency and family physicians, these specialty colleges for those 2 disciplines tend to support fellows. We don't do a great job in New York. Sometimes hospitals will send people, so that's an eternal struggle for me to get funding, because I said these are the best and the brightest. They're the future of the profession, so anybody has ideas for how I can get funding, that would be wonderful. Some of the TIPS fellows' accomplishments, they're doing all sorts of things. Gina Piazza is the person who operates an FBI occupational medical clinic. Sonia Rivera-Martinez was the president of NISOMS. I'm just bragging about them a little bit. Oh my God, we're at the end. We're going to provide you with this information. And thank you very much. I would like to turn the floor over to Bernadette now. Oh, sure. Okay? So I'm going to shush for a minute, and then we're going to have a few questions, and then let you have your break on time. Thank you so much, and enjoy the conference.
Thanks. Well, the TIP Fellowship was a wonderful experience. Betty's such a wonderful organizer and, not only a colleague or friend, but all of the connections that you will make if you do this fellowship will help you throughout your entire career. I'm on the board of NISOMS, which is the New York State Osteopathic Medical Society, and I'm lucky enough to get to work with a lot of the students such as Farzan and Louise and Aldo back there. So as we've been through delegations together and just all the connections that Betty provides and all of the great speakers, I'm convinced that that's the only reason how you get successful in the health policy field. So I really urge all of you, and I can imagine that you're as successful and as wonderful as the students that I know, and I am lucky enough to be in contact with, and I really encourage you all, whether you're in your residency when you get there or your fellowship, to do the TUPS fellowship. Whether or not you get funding, it's worth it. Any questions?
Gabby Roseberry, New York. I have a question.
I'm sorry, Gabby also is a wonderful student. She's a big help in NISOMS, always available at the board meetings as well.
Thank you. Have you ever thought about somehow involving medical students as well, where it be either some sort of maybe mentorship between the fellows and the medical student, or inviting them to your quarterly meetings, obviously like funding aside, if that's, you get trouble with the fellows, but just somehow involving us earlier in the process so that we're more aware of the program, able to get involved, and potentially more likely to be involved as residents and fellows.
I think that would be a great idea. Let me, give it to Betty, who really runs the program, but I think that's a great idea.
You learn to be a diplomat too when I have no idea. That does sound wonderful. I don't know how we would deal with it given how many medical schools there are, but something we could consider. Please call me or email me and we'll see what we can get going with that. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon.
Thanks for coming to Lily and Secret, Beacon, Carolina. Hey, Lily and Beacon, Carolina. Do your TIPS fellows ever travel to any of the campuses to talk about health policy to the medical students?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to dedicate myself 100% of the time to TIPS. I wish I had that luxury. That would be great to maybe have TIPS ambassadors speak to people.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. We, on our campus, we have a ton of time trying to incorporate health policy, what's going on in Washington, D.C. to our students, and we do the agendas and we type up summaries and updates and stuff. They don't always get read, and I think hearing from someone who's still going through the learning process, like a resident, might be a little bit better off than, having someone come down from Washington, D.C. to give us a more official update. I think it'd be nice to hear from residents.
Interestingly enough, this is the year I'm going to devote myself to really getting a good database together. I didn't, not having even worked in medical school before, I didn't realize how residents travel around so much, but I think I can do a quick search and then I'll know who's where and come up with some ideas and contacts that they can stay connected. And obviously, the earlier the better. Have any of you heard of the Health Policy Fellowship? That's the more senior program. That they meet 10 times a year. And somebody approached my boss, Dr. Horsley, about the TIPS program. Let's get residents connected, but certainly getting medical students on board. I know a lot of schools are looking to have shorter and longer classes about health policy. Do any of your schools have health policy classes or electives? And we need knowledgeable doctors to make a difference. And the difference between TIPS and other experiences like DO down the Hill is that we are all about the patients. When my students go to the Hill, they are advocates for their patients. They're not the rich doctors coming in and talking about liability insurance, which we do understand is a significant issue for you. But we ask our students to introduce themselves as resources for their legislators, whether it's a congressman or a senator. I want them to go in and say, hey, I live in your district. I can help you get information. You can run things by me, because Washington, D.C. is run by the people, the youngsters in the offices and the staffers and people who give them feedback. So
another great way for medical students to get involved is with their state osteopathic medical societies. There's a lot of openings there, as well as with your own medical schools.
great time in. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your stay here in Las Vegas. I'll be sitting at table number 745 as well as Nancy Cooper, and a lot of my TIPS fellows are here. And we've got these goofy red ribbons, not red, they're yellow ribbons that say TIPS. That's not even normal colorblind. And I was an art major. I'm so tired of it. But thank you so much, and enjoy your time here. And I hope some of you consider the TIPS program.